Hi, I'm Madeline McQueen, and this is the Tools for Success series. And this week, we are talking about playing to your strengths. That's exactly what we want to talk about. Now, the first thing around playing to your strengths is this. Do you know what your strengths are? Yep, that is what I want you to focus on. Number one, focusing on understanding what the strengths are that you had. And I paused purposely because I wanted you to think about it. Do you know what they are? Do you know how they show up? Do you know what's great about you, what you bring to the table, where you excel, where you exceed, where you are able to really get into your flow because it's something that you know and know really well? That's the first thing. So you need to spend some time learning what those things are. It might be that you ask a few friends or some family members as to what they think there are. There is plenty of strengths tests online. Gallup has one that you can use, and it's important that you think about what do you do when it comes to your strengths. So what strengths do you have? And then once you know what those strengths are, play to them. That's the second thing. And the reason why I say play to them is that too often what we're trying to do are things that we're not actually very good at, or we're trying to lean into them. And there's nothing wrong with growing, and there's nothing wrong with learning new skills. There's nothing wrong with building your strengths. But, or should I say, and it's also important to know where you do excel. This is where we trip ourselves up a lot. Because we don't know what they are, then we can't play to them. And sometimes because we don't know what they are and we can't play to them, it means that we're not able to put ourselves in the opportunities that are out there that can make the difference to us. And what I mean by that is this: if you know you're very good at something and an opportunity comes up, or a new project or a new role, then you're able to then start to literally tailor how you are going to present yourself as a solution or somebody who should be involved in a way that plays to what you're great at, right? If you don't know what it is, then you just won't think that you can do the job when you most probably can. So it's important that you play to those strengths. And that means that when there's something that you know is not your strong point, or is a weakness for you, then what you might choose to do is not engage. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not, as I said to you before, going to work on those weak areas. But what it does mean is this: too often we get ourselves into a real tizzy because we stepped into something that was not ours. And then the imposter syndrome kicks in, and then the fear kicks in. And now, don't get me wrong, fear's great, because sometimes, in stretching your comfort zone, then, you're going to be fearful. But when we know we're not good at something, like really not good at it, and we take it on just for the money, or we take it on because, or we don't want them to think as badly of us, or we take it on because we're trying to prove to somebody else how great we are, then I can guarantee you, when you step out of your lane in that way, it is going to really negatively affect you. You may not have the skill set needed to do what that thing is. Not only that, you will ruin it, not just for yourself, but for other people too. So I always encourage you to stay in your lane. It doesn't mean that you can't grow. It doesn't mean that you can't work on the areas. Doesn't mean that you can't challenge yourself. What it does mean, though, is that you need to play to those strengths. Like, what are the roles that work for you? What are the jobs that you know you can really kick ass in? Now, there may be some stretch in there, which is great, but play to those strengths. And what are they? What are they? It's so important. And thirdly, when it comes to playing those strengths, remember this: you are enough. Your strengths are fabulous in their own right. You don't need to be everything to all people. You don't need to be trying to do everything. Because if you do something really, really well and you are clear about that and you play into that, then the right people will find you, especially if you shout about those strengths. The right people will find you. Know that those strengths are enough. You don't have to be everything. What you need to be is really good in what you do. So, people who are successful are not going to take on things that are not their bag. Certainly, if they don't have the right kind of resource around them in order for them to be able to take those things on. What they're going to do is play to their strengths. And as I said to you before, when they don't know, or if there's something they're not strong in, they will find the people who are strong in those areas, because together they make a more powerful team. Together they have more impact. And that's why the best teams always have people who are able to specialize in different areas. And there might be a jack of all trades, but that role will be definitely the role that is about connecting, which is a strength in its own right. So I just want to remind you, 1, know what your strengths are. 2, play to those strengths. And 3, know that you are enough, that you don't have to be all things to all people. Have a great week, and look out for the next Tools for Success.